Hi. I'm just checking to see who's here. Please drop a message in the chat if you're online. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. Hi. Hi, Edith. Hi, Nee. Thank you for joining. Okay, so I want to welcome you guys to the Spotlight Show. My name is Irene, and I'm the founder of the Naija in Portugal community here in Portugal. I personally am based in Lisbon. So this is a Spotlight Show. So basically, this show is about speaking to people who are doing amazing, new, bold things in Portugal. Immigrants that have moved here, that are carving out a space for themselves in a country where they don't know anyone, the terrain is new, and they don't speak the language. Because I know, as you all know, it's a now falar Portuguese situation here. So I wanted to bring this sort of content into bring this sort of content to us so we can tell our stories, we can be motivated and have these real honest conversations in this about this country that we've chosen to call home. And this is the first episode. I'm super, super excited that Affy has decided to join us. It's going to be a conversation about her business, about um, the highs and the lows. And I would just want you to wish her a warm welcome as we get started. Hi, Affy. How are
Hi,
you? Thank you for joining.
thank you too.
Okay, so we have about 11 people on.
That's some numbers.
Growing, I'm sure. But thank you to everyone who has joined. Um, in case you're wondering what that barcode is, please feel free to scan it. It will take you to a portal where you're able to buy me a coffee, basically to support the show, support the channel, and of course the community. And it will be hugely appreciated. So this is Affy. Affy, welcome. How are you? How's your day been so far?
Um, it's been a good day. Thank you for having me on the show. My day was well. I tried to prepare as much for this evening, but yeah,
I don't
I'm
worry.
feeling great.
We're just having a conversation. Don't even worry
Okay.
about it. We're just having a you know the craziest thing. I don't know what I was thinking. I haven't eaten today. I was just like, oh,
Wow.
there's food later. That's what my mind was telling me, thinking, oh, Affy, food. Meanwhile, there's nothing here. So I think in the next one, we definitely have to prepare. So as I'm interviewing you, I'll have some, delicacies in front
I
of
don't know.
me.
I don't know how to do the magic, but I'm here.
That will have to be the plan. Okay, so for those who don't know Affy, I'm going to show you a quick introduction. So here we go.
Hello, my favorite foodies and clients. Happy New Hello, my
They
favorite
decide to
foodies and clients. Happy New Year and welcome to 2026. Last year was filled with so much flavor and meals that traveled from our kitchen to many tables. From everyday orders to special catering moments, every dish we cooked was made with care, intention, and love for good food. And this year, we're taking it even further with better flavors, better experiences, and the same quality you already trust. We are currently open and we're ready to take your orders for home deliveries, group meals, and large catering. We have pastries, rice dishes, soups with loaded proteins, and more. So, if you're looking for food that feels thoughtful, that is well prepared, and is deeply satisfying, you're in the right place. Let's make your year delicious.
So, Affy, tell me.
That made
Do
me
you
smile so much.
you see, this is the kind of content I see of yours on Instagram that even made me pay attention in the first place. You've always been very consistent with how you've told your story from the get go. Your content has been top notch, very well produced, very informative. The pictures have been clear. So clearly, from a beginning, you had a very clear vision. But when you got to Portugal, did you ever imagine that you would be feeding Nigerians in Portugal? Was that your plan?
Absolutely not.
No.
No, I did not have that in mind. Initially, when I started, I was like, the initial need was to be able to find food that was good enough for me
Mhm.
and for the people I had around me. And I was like, okay, I probably should just start cooking and seeing if my friends love it, see if people would like it, because there was a growing need. You know how people have withdrawal symptoms from moving
Oh
country.
yeah.
Yeah, so we all had like withdrawal symptoms. I was going through it, my friends were going through it. So, and food is the language that everybody speaks and that connects you to home. So, yeah, I didn't think about it that way. It was until it started becoming something more frequent that was when I said, okay, this it's time to make this a business actually.
So tell me, what was your relationship with food growing up? Were you in one of those households that there was always cooking going on, always hosting? Were you sneaking into the kitchen from a young age? Like, what was it?
Um, so, well, let me start from the beginning. I grew up in an environment where cooking was almost always happening.
Mm.
Almost all year round. We had family, we had friends, we had acquaintances coming in and out. I was always sent to give meals. You know how you have the ring bearer for weddings?
Mhm.
I was like a food bearer. So every time I was always with a food basket or something. So I learned really early that food wasn't just what we eat, it was how we show love. It was how we welcome people, how we celebrate, how we keep family together and maintain bonds. So then my mom started a restaurant and it became our family thing.
Okay.
And yeah. And as a teenager, I did almost everything you could think of
Mm.
when it comes to running a restaurant: storekeeper, assistant chef, sourcing, procurement,
Wow.
dishwashing, which I did not like. At the time, I didn't like it. It was work. It was a whole lot of work. Um, I never imagined I would do something like that again. At some point, I even told my mom that, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to make sure that I never have to do this in the kitchen anymore. And when I told
Mm.
her to tell her that I had started a food business, she was like, well, look what we have. So yeah, but
What's that thing they say? Lion, no, they born goats. So I guess you're just following in the family path. It's in your genes at this
basically,
point.
I didn't know. I was like, because if you asked me, as at like 5, 6 years ago, I would tell you, please, I've had my fair share of this. I can't do it.
Mm.
But now looking back, I realized that environment trained me without me knowing. It gave me operational discipline, and I before I even understand what operations as regards running a kitchen meant. So yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's wonderful. So why Portugal and what brought you here?
Well, so initially, my background, I started my studies in biomedical engineering at Federal University of Technology, Owerri, and so obviously I was a student, and then but you know how times shift and we have to move countries. I had to move countries, so coming to Portugal, I enrolled in a business school. My idea was to understand the business terrain of Portugal and see where I could, see what I could contribute to the community while making my life better. So, yeah, that's why I moved to Portugal initially for the
And
first
how
few.
long has it been now?
I moved in November 2022, so approximately 3 years. And
Yeah, you just did 3 years. 3 years last November.
last November made me 3 years. Yeah,
Hmm. Okay, so you say your mom had a business growing up.
yeah.
Um, Now, what is the reason behind the taste of Affys? What is the story behind the taste of Affys? Because clearly you grew up in that environment, but now you're sort of carving your own space in Portugal. So, what is the story you're telling?
Okay, so Affy's didn't really start as a brand, like I mentioned before. It started more of as a solution. It's not like I had a full-on idea that I
Mm-hmm.
was going to run a business initially. So when I moved to Portugal, I mentioned I was in a business course study that took most of my time. And by the time I got home every day, I was always craving something from home. I was having that detachment and withdrawal symptoms. Some days I'll be like, I wish I can just if I just eat afang right now, I know that I'll be good. Like I can face my my struggles. So yeah, the journey began before I even knew it was going to begin. So I Affy started the way many immigrant businesses start with a need and with a small circle. People missed home food, people were tired, people wanted Nigerian food that tasted authentic but still felt clean, premium, and relatable. So at first, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even like I was building a business. I was just, let me just cook for this person.
Oh,
So
really?
my first paid order in Portugal was from a mutual friend. Uh,
What did you make?
Meat pies actually with a
Okay.
combination of puff. I think it was 20 euro worth. Even though I had already been posting ads that I was selling pastries, I had not really gotten an order at the time. I think that was in early 2022, 2023 rather, early 2023. So when someone actually paid, when they pay, that's when you know it's serious. Okay, somebody has paid.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
was a cash payment, so which made it more visual for me. So I was like, oh wow, someone really paid for this. And
Mm-hmm.
then when he gave me the feedback that he loved the pies, it gave me the confidence that I wasn't just cooking, I was actually solving a real problem. Yeah.
So at that point, that's when you realize that this could be more than a hobby. It could
Is it?
be your literally your purpose and your mission in
Is
Portugal. Is
it?
that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on from that point when your friend placed the first order, how did you develop from that point, and what were the costs and the things you needed to consider? Because obviously living in Portugal with the bureaucracy and the language barriers, how were you now able to get to the point of saying this is something I want to put all my attention to and make it a fully fledged business?
Okay, so well, I would start with the early challenges. So um, people the part that people don't expect a lot of the time is to get customers, which is the main important thing. Having an idea is one thing, having people who want to buy that idea or be a part of that idea or finance that idea or grow the business with you was a different thing entirely. And in this case, it's a B2C situation, and I needed customers. So I realized I had to familiarize with people. I'm not a good talker per se. I am a good talker, but I'm a very good talker actually, but I don't actually enjoy crowds or approaching new people. And that part shocked me because I could do that. I thought that was a part of me. So I had to build a new muscle, a muscle that I would like to call visibility muscle. I had to be
Right.
visible. And when I got a few clients initially to make it cost effective, I would cook from morning till late in the evening, sometimes depending on the size of the order. And then I would personally deliver the order. Some days I got home at 11 p.m., some days
Mm.
midnight. I know there was a time I brought something to your place at night.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even
Yeah,
know you at that point. We hadn't met. That was the first time we met. I don't even
yeah,
think we had
actually,
spoken or anything. It was
yeah.
a huge surprise.
Yeah, and I'll sit down and ask myself when I come back at night, like, I'll be like, "Are you sure you want this life? Is this what you want to do?" So
Yeah.
from then on, the processes began to build. I knew that okay, now I have a brand name, Affy. So what do I do with this brand name? What do I want for it? I'm very heavy on intention when it comes to dealing with people, intention in everything. So I wanted my business to feel intentional. I wanted anybody that comes in contact with my business or with my company or to know that a lot of thought was put into this meal. Yeah, that's why I started out the way that I started, by getting to know my clients one on one, and that helped me to build some sort of client base who are now a major foundation to my business right now, because they
Mm-hmm.
went on to refer people, and I have like long standing relationship with
Mm-hmm.
them. Those were stressful times, stressful deliveries, but they taught me something very, very important. A lot of business growth is not just about growth. It's not just about, the food or the talent that you have. It's about like the tolerance. How
Mm-hmm.
long can you stay to build a system that actually works?
Like
So,
basically dedicating yourself and committing to showing up every
exactly.
day.
Yeah, you have to tolerate discomfort long enough for your systems to catch up. So, because at the beginning, you are the product, I'm the delivery rider, the marketer, the customer service rep,
Mm-hmm.
the accountant, you're the everything. So,
Yeah.
that's where the brand meaning became clear. Affy's is not just a Nigerian food to me. It was my intention, my standards, and I had to build everything to show that, from procurement to how I wanted the packaging to look like. Um, so yeah, if it comes from Affy's, it has to be intentional.
So you said in the early days that you'll be working from morning till night, but how does it actually work? Like what is the process? So somebody places an order in the morning. Do you have like a lead time to say, okay, I'm going to deliver it in 24 hours, 48 hours? Is it at that point when somebody places an order that you're now like rushing to the shops? Are you going to pingo those? Like, what does it even mean when you're going beyond cooking for yourself and now placing orders, like random orders for people? Or how did you manage that?
Okay, so in the beginning, it was quite chaotic.
Mm,
As usual, it was very chaotic because I had not defined what system of business I wanted to work with. If I wanted to build and become a restaurant, if I wanted to do daily ordering, if I wanted to do bulk service, like I had to find the niche inside of the food business that was working with my life at the time. And at the time, I had a lot of spare time, so I was like, you know what, let me just do it as it comes. Sometimes somebody can message me in the morning, and the orders are so unique in such a way. And
mhm.
because I was starting out, I didn't have as much storage space. So, and the orders were unique. So, which meant that I had to do sourcing almost every time somebody placed an order. And that in itself is very stressful, especially if it's a unique order, like maybe assume there's goat's meat. So, I have to go and find goat's meat, and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, it was pretty much chaotic, like I said in the beginning, until I started defining how I wanted the business to be. I told myself that, okay, I am not going to function as a restaurant because I am not a restaurant. I am
Right.
also not going to function as a daily delivery business because I am not a daily food delivery business. So, which led me to define my business to a 24-hour food delivery service, bulk food delivery service. So I don't sell in small meal packs. I sell
Mhm.
from a minimum of 2 liters. That would help me to manage both my time and be able to deliver the best service that I could. So, and with time that grew, I started knowing exactly what I could buy to store, where exactly I could go to shop, what time I could go, what places had the best vegetables, the freshest, um, and what exactly I needed to import exactly. So, with time, the system built itself. So it's good.
Okay. It's funny because I was chatting to my sister yesterday, and she and my nephew had made fried rice, and
Yeah.
apparently they have a joke where whenever they make something and it really bangs, that's the you can never recreate it again. So all their
Wow.
fantastic meals are like a one-hit wonder. And I said to her, like, oh, that for me, if I make something like that, I tend to write it down very quickly so I can at least
Exactly.
attempt to recreate it again.
Mm.
So how does that work for you? Is there a folder somewhere that if I pick it up now, I'm going to be able to launch Affy's on my own in my kitchen and it will taste exactly the same? Like how does your recipe, the creation of
Okay.
your recipes work, and even the execution, especially when you're scaling it?
Exactly. Like you just mentioned now, taste will always give you attention in any business, but operation systems will keep you in the game because if you're not able to reproduce something over and over and over again, you can't scale. So this part is the part where the romance of having a business ends and reality actually starts. Because cooking is one thing, running a food business in Portugal is another thing entirely. So I would like to divide this into like 5 or 4 parts just to be able to explain it properly.
Right.
So the first part with running a food business in Portugal would be sourcing. So Nigerian cooking is ingredient sensitive. You have the pepper base, you have the oil choices, you have seasoning, you have fish types, you have meat cuts, all these things, they matter. So you need to become a strategist. You need to know where to shop, you need to know when to shop, you need to know what substitutions are allowed because obviously it's not like we have fresh ubu or something here, and you need to know what substitutions will destroy the taste. Some you can learn online, some you have to learn the hard way if you go and substitute something that doesn't give. Yeah, that's where experimentation comes in, but don't experiment with the client's food, by the way. But the second part would be logistics. So food has time, food has temperature, and food has freshness. As a food professional, you have to know that you are not even supposed to leave food out in the pot for long after cooking because you must adhere to the 2 to 4 hours rule. This is basically a food safety rule that you have to that determines how long perishable food can stay safely outside. So optimally, food is supposed to be stored at like 60 degrees and above for hot food and 5 degrees and below for cold food. So there's a danger zone which is between 5 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius, which is where food can come in contact with bacteria and food can like multiply bacteria, where in this case you can have things like food poisoning. So when food is between those hours, you have to eat it within 2 hours of it being in that temperature. So these are like very dicey and specific things one has to know. Some you just have to have at the back of the head of your head as a food professional, but with HACCP standards, you need to actually have a plan written down. So yes, most of my recipes are not written down, but the systems are written down on exactly what temperature some things need to be stored at, what container they can be stored at. Is it plastic? Is it uh, nylon, whatever. So processes and systems are written down. The only recipes I do have written down is baking because baking is very sensitive. You could go off with just a slight difference of maybe even a pinch of salt could make the whole bread or pastry crumble. So yeah, I do have some things written down, but not all things. I do have measurements written down. Measurements because I sell in liters. I would not want to deal with excess. It's just a good process to help me deal with excesses and to help me to not be
Mhm.
at loss. So yeah.
Wow, that was very informative. I hope the food entrepreneurs in that are watching are taking notes, but the live will still be available up on the channel anyway. And I do really suggest that you make a note of anything. That's some really, really amazing, useful information. And it's only information that you can actually really get from trial and error and understanding how to refine your processes like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So, if somebody were to contact Affys now and they don't know anything about Nigerian food, what are the top 3 meals you recommend to them?
Hmm. Well, I can't, I'm thinking. It's like saying what are my signature dishes, but
Mm-hmm.
from over time of dealing with my clients, I don't think I there's like a specific one because if I had to pick what my customers talk about the most, I'd say soups. Yeah, my soups are always a sellout every time. My soups connect to people because my clients tell me they can taste the authenticity and freshness, and
Mm-hmm.
I put a lot of proteins properly. Like you cannot swallow one without actually picking up something when
Mm-hmm.
eating the soups that
Mm-hmm.
I make. So, so yes,
Okay.
soups will be, and the pastries, the meat pie to be specific. So yeah, those are those are the two things I would recommend if somebody they don't know anything about Affys and they want to order something right now. I would say start with meat pie, and then if you want to go deep down into the culture, I'd recommend either afang soup or egusi soup because those are also a
I
sellout
got
as
you,
well.
soup. I love afang soup. Like I,
Me too.
I feel like if I could get Eddie Kaikon as well, that would probably be like my number one. But it has to be freshly
Yeah,
cut vegetables. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
I'm a
vegetable.
South girl myself, so
Ooh,
I'm very
nice.
particular about my vegetable soup. So here in Portugal, I find afang is a very very close second in
Mm,
terms of that real authenticity vegetable soup. You know that we'll get back in the South.
yeah.
And then how has it been amongst the Portuguese? Like, have you gotten any sort of feedback from them regarding the food? Have you seen any sort of intersections even with the food?
Yes, actually, I've had Portuguese weddings that were like cross Nigerians and Portuguese or something of that nature, and they love Nigerian food.
Mm.
Some, yeah, yeah, you just have to tone down on the spice. Less
They
spice,
like
less
their
spice.
picante, no? And the ones that have piri piri and picante,
Yeah,
mucho
but it's
picante.
not our
It's not
habanero hot. Yeah.
the
Nigerians, the food we make a lot of the times the combination of different spices that are hot, not necessarily peppery, but they are hot. So by the time it's combined with like pepper, it becomes hot. For example, ginger, we have uda. Some of these things are very hot on their own. They're
same.
not spicy, but
Hmm.
they're just hot. Even some of our seeds they have a little bit of sharp hotness in them. So when that is combined with pepper, it just makes it even more.
Hmm.
So yeah, but I do have when I come in contact with them, I do have I think about a few Portuguese clients.
Mm.
Um, I like the way Nigerian food is about storytelling.
Right.
It's very nice and it's time consuming. So it's a labor of love. In fact, all meals, regardless of their culture, that is made and made well is a labor of love. So yes, my Portuguese clients they do love Nigerian food, and that is what matters the most to me because at that point the food becomes a bridge.
Mm.
Before someone understands your accent, they have understood the flavor. That's why I love our meals. I always like my food to go before me to open
Mm.
up, their mind to the Nigerian personality, which is not limited to boldness, warmth, energy, joy. And when you try something Nigerian, you can almost feel that burst of boldness,
Right.
warmth, energy. So yeah,
I find like Nigerian food sometimes, like if you're not familiar with it, it might look a little bit suspicious. But then
exactly.
overcome that initial fear and hesitation
Yeah,
to
yeah,
taste, then it's literally like an explosion of flavor in your mouth and
yeah.
everything, right? Okay. So is there any Portuguese dish that you're now fond of? Any Portuguese meal that you actually recreate at home?
I'd say bifanas. It's not
Oh.
necessarily a dish,
I'm sure
but
you don't put soya pepper on your bifana.
uh,
Not
I
this
have
way.
to, I have to, I have to Nigerianize it a bit. Yeah, but I love bifana. I love bifanas a lot. I love bifanas. I love bacalhau brass, but it depends. It depends. It's not something I would just make at home because I only eat it outside. But yeah, my go-to would be bifana.
Yeah, you're right. I do like bacalao brash as well, but usually some places make it a little bit too salty. But
Exactly.
for Portuguese, especially, it's so delicious. I don't even know how they do it. I had one very recently, the best, and they really went to the effort of taking most of the salt out. So I really, really like that dish.
Yeah.
I haven't tried to make it yet, but maybe I will. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions.
Mm.
You don't have to think about it. You have to be quick. You have to be quick on the mark.
Okay.
Okay, so poundo, amala, or eba.
Pounder
Okay, jollof rice with beef or chicken.
with beef. Tired of chicken, man.
Unlike Nigerians in Nigeria here, your chicken is very expensive there. Now they don't eat chicken anymore. Delivery or event catering.
Event catering.
Okay. One Portuguese dish that you actually rate.
One what?
One Portuguese dish that you actually rate.
That I rate? It would be finance.
Okay. And if there was one thing that you could eat every day for the rest of your life, you can eat other things, though, but you can eat this one thing every day, what would it be?
Can I make it another way? Is it the okay? It's a dish or is it the food item?
Food item, dish, it's up to you.
Yam and egg sauce.
Ah, yum.
We eat it every day. I don't know if it's because it's now scarce, so the idea of scarcity makes you want something more.
It could
Um,
be.
it could be, but I do love yam and egg sauce.
It's funny because when I was drawing up this question, my answer was yam too. I feel like yam actually exists in my DNA. So, like where I'm from in Nigeria, we have different types of yam for different types of soup. If you're eating atama
Mm,
soup, you pound this species of yam. If you're eating edikako, you use the species of yam. If you're eating yam and oil, you use a different. Like we have so many types of yam. I feel like I could eat yam every day. The only thing that prevents me is probably the cost
the
and the
cost,
carbs,
exactly.
and yeah, those probably those two things. Okay, so in a way, now you're an ambassador for Nigerian food in Portugal. How does that feel? Is it a bit of pressure? Do you feel empowered in that role?
Um, more or less.
Yeah.
That sounded very Portuguese, but
My menos. No, wait. How do they say?
I say that a lot now. So I wouldn't say I feel pressure because I would say that's because of the environment that we're in, the community, the country. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think Portuguese people are very pressuring people. So, um, pressure in terms of hygiene, yes, because this it's the standards in Europe are very very important when it comes to handling food. So maybe a little bit of pressure on that end to ensure that everything is done well and properly. But otherwise, I don't feel too pressured because we have a whole family here. I know a number of people who are running restaurants. We're all ambassadors together. So if I'm slacking a bit, somebody can catch up. You know. But it feels good. It feels good to be able to tell the Nigerian story through um, food that I make.
And you're right. I mean, there's about maybe 10,000 Nigerians in Portugal now.
Oh wow! I had no idea.
I think back in 2023, I would say there was maybe about 9,000. I think that's like the last number I heard.
Hmm.
But obviously, there has been an influx between then and now, students and the likes, digital nomads, all kinds of um, Nigerians moving to Portugal, and then the demand is there, right? Because even
Yeah.
in the Niger and Portugal community, in the WhatsApp chats, we're constantly sharing information on, oh, where can we get chicken? Where can we buy okra? Where can we buy this? Where can we buy that? So I've noticed as well, there's been a lot of food businesses coming.
Mm.
So how in all this competition that is arising as the population is growing and the demand is growing, how does that make you feel? Do you feel any type of pressure or do you feel very confident in your brand and your offering?
Well, I'm a very confident person, actually. And that's one thing I do know that has helped me a lot. And another reason is the why of Affys. The why of Affys does not allow me to think in that way. For example, Nigerian food is something that I wouldn't say necessarily new. I do know there was Papa Chidera here before all of us came. Um, there's also other people as well, and I am more focused on the fact that we can share the Nigerian journey, the Nigerian experience as much as we can, whether it's coming through me, whether it's coming through another person. I'm much more happy that it's being shared
Mm-hmm.
to the people, and I want people to understand and know what it feels like to be in Nigeria, not just you know what they see on social media. You know,
Right.
and not just to Portuguese people. I'm talking about other Africans here also. There's other Africans here, and I can tell you for a fact that they are in love with our food as well. So there is space for everybody. There is space for every single person. There is. So yeah.
And the Nigerian community have embraced you and supported you?
Well, community. What? Sorry, when you say something, I'm not sure I get you.
No, I said the Nigerian community has supported you and embraced you in your journey.
Okay, I thought you were saying something after that. Okay, so the community right now, it matters a lot, especially in diaspora. And my first believers were people who understood the pain that I was solving. Nigerians here, they understand missing home food, and like I mentioned earlier, I would make meals and deliver them myself because that was my strategy to client retention, to connect with clients more personally, and most importantly, to build an organic community of Nigerians or people who knew Affys. It was stressful, but it did pay off as my growth, was going on. But with time, I started getting more support from the community here in Portugal, specifically the NCIP, which was the Nigerian community in Portugal. Big honors to Mr. Liko and you too. You referred me even before you met me, and for me, that was a very, very big deal. So the community is a big part of my journey, and even everyone watching right now very huge big part of my community. And despite the community, I also learned that growth requires strategy. You can't only build inside your circle. You have to build systems that
Right.
allow you to serve beyond your immediate community. So, well, I'm really grateful for the support and from the community. It's been wonderful as well.
And outside of the Nigerian community, obviously Portugal is a very multicultural place. Have you faced any kind of discriminations?
As regards food,
As regards food and just existing as an entrepreneur in Portugal?
well, I would no. My journey has been quite fantastic. I even have a mentor right now, and he's Portuguese. He's a chef. He's a Portuguese chef, and I would say they've been very supportive, very, very supportive. Everyone I meet always wants to try. I want to try. I want to try. I want to try. I want to try. So that's what I always get. I want to try. I want to try.
Yeah.
Even when I was renting my apartment, the lady who was renting it out to me, and I told her, oh, that I was a chef. She was like, no, stop. I have to try. And then she was like, she has a son who's a chef, and she's going to connect me with him. So,
Okay.
and then it's been wonderful, actually. I don't get any um would I say I
You haven't had
haven't
any
experienced it
negative
so much.
experiences?
Yeah, so much, but yeah. Maybe because of my type of business, maybe because of I do it from home, or maybe because it's a delivery type of situation, or uh, before somebody calls me to cater at an event, it means they really want me there. So maybe because I don't do, maybe I don't know what would put me in a position to experience something of that nature, but it's been wonderful so far. Yeah.
So I know last year you had like a very major event, like a huge collaboration. I'd love to hear your experience on that. But before we do that, I just want to show the people watching what exactly it was. So this was both Afro Nation and Uber Eats. I mean, that's amazing. How did that go? Tell me all about that.
Um, Affirmation was my growth lesson. It was one of my biggest growth lessons in the catering industry. So originally, I wanted to sell inside the venue, but by the time my operational planning was solid, it was late. And so my partner and I went back to the drawing board, and we decided to cater outside the venue. It was very bold. Um, because I like to be bold, do both things.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
decision that was bold, it became a blessing because it looked like we were not, how would I say, we didn't get what we want, but at the end of the day, it turned out to be a blessing because it expanded opportunities beyond the festival. It exposed us to clients, not just clients, retention clients, clients that even right now I have people telling me, "Are you going to be there? Because I'm going to be there for this amount of time." And I don't want to go hungry. And
Wow.
bigger possibilities, yeah. But it was also very stressful because we underestimated the workload and I didn't have enough systems in place. It was still a success, but it taught me a key business truth that demand is not the same as capacity. People can want you, but you must be able and prepared to serve them. So Afro Nation was huge. It was wonderful. Lots of Africans, Nigerians,
From
um,
all over the world, right?
yeah, from diaspora all over. They were there, and I had no idea that that amount of people could pull up for something Afro related. My
Mm.
blabber was gutted. But I was so happy, but I was overwhelmed with work. Um, it was a growth lesson. It was an exposure lesson. It was a visibility. Um,
So, what was
uh,
your toughest experience during that?
my toughest experience would be sleeping and waking up in 1 hour difference. So yes, like I said, by the time my operational planning was done, I had this much time to prepare for the occasion. So as you know, Afro Nation is for 3 days, and after Afro Nation, there's like other events. Afterwards, there's also like I think some before. So I plan to cater to because Afro Nation is not only what people are coming for, and they're also going to be there the whole time, so they need to eat. That was my big idea
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
plan.
Quite
And
clever.
my most stressful point would be because I had less time to prep. Let me just put this in there. A lot of the time, cooking is not just about the talent of knowing what and what to combine. It's having enough patience to combine it so well that it comes out good.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not patient enough to let things cook properly or done properly or take them out on time, it's just gonna be a mess. So and that you can avoid by prepping ahead of time. For example, my main course around that time was jollof rice, and jollof rice is, if you want to make authentic, proper Naija jollof, you like if you want to really do it properly, you have to get your base right. So either you roast or you steam, whatever method you're using, it takes a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of time. And I had so much short time to meet the demand that was coming in. So it was very stressful. And at the end of the day, we always end up having like maybe 2 hours sleep in between, almost like 4 or 5 days, 2 hours sleep before the next prep session starts, and then the store is open and we have to start selling and serving, and then we are back again to prep. It was a full cycle. At some
Right.
point, we had to take turns sleeping.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
that sounds really really difficult. So
Yeah, it was.
obviously you pushed through it. So well
Yes,
done on
thank
achieving
you.
that. And Afro Nation is coming up upon us again this year. So
Mhm.
given the opportunity, what would you do differently this time?
What I would do differently this time is prep work. As I already know, it's something I do on my day-to-day business. Prep work helps everything go right. That's why I have a 24-hour order timeline. You have to let me know what you want 24 hour because I will give you maximum quality if you actually let me deal
Mm-hmm.
with this within 24-hour window. So it applies to the same process applies to Afro Nation. Being I would do prep process differently. I can't be trying to roast pepper and have base ready on the same morning where when I want the store to be open to sell jollof rice. So prep is everything. Prep work would cut production time by more than half.
Mm-hmm.
More than half. So and production time was a major killer to my sales at that time. So yeah, that's what
Mm.
I would do differently.
And talking about sales, how profitable is food business?
Hmm.
When you're talking about margins, is it say for instance you move to a whole different country with a whole different set of opportunities, would you still pursue this path because it is such a good business idea?
Depends on the location. If I go to the UK, I definitely would not try it because
Why?
there's a whole lot of everybody doing it there, and it's not like there's no audience. Definitely somebody would buy, but I feel like the market is saturated already.
Mm,
Apart from that, saturated, and it's not like everybody in the end. It's different from Nigeria, where you know you're in Nigeria and everybody in Nigeria eats Nigerian food. So if everybody, it's down to the numbers. If everybody in this particular country is not introduced to this, and then you have to force your way through, and there's already a large number of people who are doing that, it makes it difficult to steady, especially as a beginner. Maybe I would find something niche to do. Maybe not exactly food because there's suya in UK, there's everything.
mm-hmm,
Maybe something very niche oriented. But concerning profit margin, I feel like it's profitable as in comparison to the amount of labor. It depends on your numbers. Event catering does the best, if you ask me. If you ask any if you ask any chef right now operating in Portugal, they'll tell you the same thing. Event catering does the best because you
okay,
have this much window, you have this much time, you know exactly what you're doing. But
mm-hmm,
with daily ordering, sometimes it can be quite stressful because somebody can just text you at 12 midnight, I want 5 meat by tomorrow. And if you're operating the same type of business like I do, I make everything fresh. I don't have anything stored in the freezer. Maybe I can have the prep work in the freezer, that
mm-hmm,
depends. But
mm-hmm.
otherwise, I make everything fresh because that's like the idea of my business, to ensure that it's getting to them like it was made at home specifically for
For
them.
them.
So yeah, sometimes that can be quite stressful to do. And at the end of the day, if you want to compare the amount of time and the labor that was put into the preparation to the profit that was made, it takes love. It takes love for the business to be able to see it, you know.
I
You
can
know how a mother
imagine.
always loves her child regardless of what the child does. Yeah, you need to
Mm-hmm,
have that type of love for the business.
mm-hmm.
But on some days it's very good. On some days it's very good. On some days it's not so much. So typically more like any other business.
So would you say there have been moments where you've actually operated at a loss?
Yes, actually. In the beginning I was operating at a loss back to back. I was on a lost train back to back. Yeah, it was crazy times. Yeah, even when I was even trying to cut back on costs, I was still operating on a loss, and I wasn't only operating on a loss based on profit. I was operating based on the labor and the time that I was putting in, you know. But that was
Mm-hmm,
just a personal sacrifice that I had to make because I really wanted to meet people that were eating my food face to face. I wanted to see them. I
mm-hmm,
wanted to know them. I wanted to have, even if it's a hi hello conversation. It builds trust for me because randomly you just see me on YouTube. I only have 10 or sorry, I said on YouTube. On Instagram, I only have what 30 or 50 followers, which we have now grown to 700 to the glory of God.
Fantastic.
And then, you just be like, oh, I want jollof rice. Okay. And then I just answer you on WhatsApp. And then I just, for me, it didn't feel connecting, so
Right.
I wanted that to happen at the beginning. So
Yeah, I have to say, like, definitely. I mean, first things first, the first impressions of your business are very good. Your visuals, your pictures, everything is of a very high quality.
thank you.
And I think that is what caused me to even want to recommend you before I knew you or before I tasted your food. Because I'm sure you know that, like, I love to cook, so I cook a lot. So I would say I'm the bestest customer of Nigerian caterers, but obviously I know a lot of people that could be, because you guys probably see my stories. I'm always trying something, one thing or the other. But I was
Yeah,
like, no,
actually, and I
yeah,
really love that about you. You
I
always
know a
try
lot of
something
people
new.
that would want to buy, right? And that is what caused me to recommend you. But then I was not expecting you to want to come and see me. I think when you messaged me that you wanted to come and see me, it was like 9 p.m. And you were like, no, that you will still come. I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, where is she coming from? What is she doing? Like, this this is not necessary. And then you came and you had the whole gift basket and the wine and everything. I was like, okay, this girl is onto something. Like, she knows what she's doing. She's extremely strategic, but not in a calculative way, in a very personal, honest, really wanting to connect with. So I really do commend you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're coming up to the end of the hour. So quickly before we close, what plans do you have for the future for Affys? Like, how do you envisage this growing? Are you thinking opening a brick and mortar business? Are you considering other cities in Portugal? Because I guess right now you're quite centered in Lisbon, where you're located, in terms of fulfilling orders and delivery. So what are your plans? How do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
Okay. So right now, I'm working on. I also learned AI engineering, so I'm also an AI engineer at the same time.
Oh
And
wow.
right now, I'm working on incorporating parts of that experience into my customer experience. So, um, imagine smarter ordering, better menu discovery, and accessibility. Because one thing I've discovered is that a lot of client loss happens between the thought process, the viewing process, and actually sending an order. So I'm thinking of how to bridge that gap. So that is what the future looks like for me right now. Trying to bridge that gap by optimizing a channel, which would be my website, but it's currently optimized for just Portugal as of last year. So I'm working on having that adjusted. So in the next 3 years, 3 to 5 years from now, I do see Affys as a very well known brand, a brand that people would love to associate with, and a brand that people can remember, not just for the name, but for the authenticity of the food that they would get from the brand. You know.
That sounds super exciting.
Thank you.
So, no brick and mortar business, because I want to be able to walk into a place and get my afang at the point of feeling it.
I I've thought about that, and I cannot say it's not part of the plan. It was. There was a time I was really obsessed with it. Um,
Mm,
But then I started putting other thoughts into place. Like I said, I worked with my mom, with my family, and we ran a restaurant. So I have firsthand experience what it takes to actually run a restaurant. It is not an easy thing to do, and I really commend everyone right now. I even have a few friends. My mentor also, who is Portuguese, he was running a restaurant in Portimao, had to close down because the orders were not as much or things were not as he wanted it to be. So you need to find, I thought about it a lot and I told myself I need to find what works for the country or the community that I am
Mm.
in right now. A restaurant is not a bad idea. It's be a beautiful one. Maintenance cost and a lot of all those things are inclusive, but watch out. I have something coming very soon.
Okay. All right. Please
It's
let
not
us
a restaurant,
know.
but it will be better. It will be
I
better.
mean,
You
this
will
would
get
have been an
our
amazing platform to announce it. I'm just saying, but we can always bring you on a future episode. Maybe you and some other um, food entrepreneurs.
yeah,
And then because I'd love to know what it is. I know it will directly benefit me.
yeah, it
That's for
would.
sure.
It would. It would. It would benefit everybody staying in Lisbon. I'm sorry for the people that are not staying in Lisbon.
They get so mad at us. First of all, they make fun of us that Lisbon has earthquakes and all that. And then they get upset because we now have all the food businesses in Lisbon. So I don't know.
Yeah,
All you Porto, Braga people, make up your minds, okay? You can't have a vote.
yeah.
Okay, so what advice would you give um, Nigerians in Portugal that are afraid to start in this new country, barely know anyone, and of course the language barrier. We are all now fala Portuguese in this country, trying our best to get by with un poco. So how what would you tell them? What would you even tell someone like me?
Um, First of all, I'd start by saying that consistency is, I feel like it's something you have to pray for. It's a spiritual gift that is required for building any business, most especially a food business, because it forces you to become who you say you are. So
Mm,
if I'm speaking to anyone who is watching and wants to build something, especially as an immigrant, this is my honest advice. Um, Number one, start small, but start serious. You know, like you said, like when I came to your place, you're like, oh, why is this girl coming at night? I'm serious. I did not have up to 10 clients then.
you're joking. What?
But I was serious, man.
Oh my
Sometimes
goodness.
when I think about it, I'm like, you were too serious. But yeah, start small, but start serious. Even if you serve five people, you build as if you're serving five. You want to serve 500. You
Mm,
track your costs. It's very important to track your costs, else you would not find money for production or for anything or for, yeah. So track costs, track your time, and build a routine. That would be number one. Number two, price with wisdom, not guilt. Um, I'm
mm,
sorry to say this, but the Nigerian community can guilt trip you into pricing out of emotion. And if your price cannot sustain your quality, you're not helping your customers, you're building future failure. So it's one thing to make it sustainable to people, or but is it sustainable to your business, to the time? There's a reason why they are ordering. They're ordering because they cannot go to the market or to the store and buy that thing and spend the time, if it's on public transport, 30 minutes going, 30
mm,
minutes back, sourcing. They can't do that. They can't spend the time prepping, and you're doing that. So you want to do it so that you don't feel stressed and you don't hate yourself at the end of the day. So price
mm,
wisdom, and do a lot of research. Don't, if you want to put your prices, don't price it because somebody is selling at this. Do your research, find your best stores, know what they sell, know your production costs, know your labor costs. So, and then you put your price according to quality. Don't be greedy also, just enough as it would be, enough to satisfy your grade level or your patience level or your work level at that time or at the time. Number three, which is very important, systems will save you more than motivation.
mm.
Systems. Motivation is simply a mood. If you ask me, I would say motivation is an emotion, and it's a feeling of inspiration. It is very volatile.
Oh God.
It's very
It's
volatile.
pure vibes. It depends on how
It's
you woke up that
nice.
morning, right?
Yes, it fluctuates based on your energy. based on your emotional states, Some days you're motivated, some days you're not.
No,
And
real
you don't want to build a business around that entirely.
talk.
So if you want it serious, there has to be a system around it. A system that is deliberate, a system that is predefined to suit your current business needs, a system that is even documented, because it would be a system is supposed to be a repeatable process or a routine that you can even teach someone else,
Mhm.
perhaps if you have staff working with you
Right,
at any point.
right.
In software programming, you can call this a reproducible code, so someone can look at your work and understand it and maintain it whether you are there or not. So that's where actual success comes from, the maintenance of doing it. So, and you cannot maintain if you don't have a system, basically. So, yeah, systems will save you more than motivation. So, yeah, implement a system that works for you. Um, the final one would be to be coachable,
Mhm.
and be bold. Be coachable and be bold. So sometimes pride or lack of information, I would say, is the reason why a business can be slow. So ask questions. I watch a ton of cooking videos. I
Okay.
attend classes. It doesn't matter if they are cooking the same afang or jollof that I've known how to cook since I was 11. Um, I'm I'm lucky enough to come from a tribe that cooks a lot, and then I was now lucky enough to work in a restaurant at an early age. So there was nothing we didn't cook. There's nothing I didn't experience with. I know all of that, but I will still sign up to that class. I will watch it
Mm.
because, as the Bible says, permit me to throw in a bit. Can I?
Go on. Of course.
So in Second Timothy 2:15, the Bible says, "Study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needed not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." So by constantly watching those videos, attending those sessions, classes, asking questions, I am actively seeking fresh insights, which is what I would recommend to anybody to keep my cooking skills sharp. So if the axe is dull and the edge is unsharpened, more strength will be needed. If there's more skill, it will bring success. So, being teachable will put you at an advantage, like not just in direction, it will keep you prepared and ready. This brings me to one occasion. So, during the Portimao Festival, I started sales a day before the actual day, and it was a bit slow, right? So, I sat down and I started using my phone. The owner of the commercial kitchen that I had rented, which is my mentor now in Portuguese, and which he saw me and he says, "Affy, let me tell you one thing. In the kitchen, you never stop until it's done." What did he mean by that? Like I said before, I was short on time for prep for the festivity, so which means I had to spend more time every day on prep work. And what he meant simply was that because I didn't have clients at the time, did not mean that I did not have work to do.
Mm.
So, and then what he told me, I got to learn the hard way when the festivity kicked in fully, because he told me. So, yeah, be teachable, be bold, and be coachable. Learn. We learn every day, especially in the food industry. We have puff puff with filled with braised chicken something. Like there's a new recipe every day,
Yes.
and we do
Okay. All the innovations that are happening.
exactly.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what I would advise to anyone that wants to start a business now, or a food business or any business.
Oh, that's golden information. Like, I really hope that the food entrepreneurs that watch this are really taking notes. I mean, I knew this was going to be really informative, but you are actually very systematic, detailed, and quite technical in the
Thank
way you
you.
approach your food business, which I love and admire. As someone in tech myself, I like doing things as well in a very orderly, predictable, systematic approach. And I don't have any insight into the food industry, so I could only make any assumptions into what operated. Like for me, it's vibes. It's like, okay, what do we want to make today? Okay, let's try this recipe. But
It's just
no, it's actually
bad.
not that. It's planned. It's it's systematic and it's quite technical. Like you have systems in place to enable you manage that consistency and scalability over and over and over and over again. Well, Well done. Because you're actually, quite young. Sorry to age shame you, but I'm not age shaming you. But
Thank
you seem
you.
very knowledgeable and very mature,
Thank you for
beyond your years. Okay. So, do we have any questions? We have reached the end of the hour. I did get a couple of questions via email, but if anyone wants to drop any in the chat, just looking at the chat now. Someone says yam and egg sauce is my all-time favorite.
Yay.
Food of the I can eat it morning, noon, and night, quite literally. Okay, so I had two questions that I received via email. Some of them I think you've already answered. So if someone wanted to start a food business in Portugal tomorrow, what's the very first thing they should focus on? Food quality, branding, or understanding the market?
Understanding the market. That's it.
You'd say.
Understanding the market, because you need to know what you want to sell. You need to know who you want to sell it to. You
Mm-hmm.
need to know what position you need to put yourself at to sell it to them. So you need to understand the market first to be able to
To
start.
position yourself well.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Amongst other things you have to do, but since you mentioned this, if I had to pick between these three, then it will be
You
that
say that would be the first one.
one.
And the next question, like I said, some of them you've already answered. What has been your most profitable decision so far in this business?
My most profitable decision. When I think about profit, I think about it in terms of time, because people don't speak about this very much, but time is one of the most expensive currency anybody can buy. It's very important. It's very, very important, because when you have time, you can do other things that you want to do. So, my most profitable,
Profitable decision.
yes, profitable decision would be being able to minimize my cooking time and maximize time that I can use in other parts of my life, like career and otherwise, because it helped me to not only deliver meals that are quality, and also be able to get value for that quality that I am delivering. So,
Mhm.
being able to manage my time was the best decision that I have made, that I had made, because it caused a series of other profitable um, things.
Outcomes from that. So
Outcomes,
being
yes.
able to manage your time allowed you to make time for other things that were essentially more important and more valuable. No, maybe not even more valuable, but we're able to also provide value because
Exactly.
because you had time
Exactly.
for them. Okay. Okay. So tell us how people can order, where they can follow you, and where to find you.
So if you're watching this now or later and you're hungry, you want to eat afang soup, you want to eat yam porridge, beans porridge, jollof rice, fried rice, ofaku, banga soup, you just name it. And you
Now
can
I'm
find
hungry. I'm hungry again.
so sorry. You can find me on +351 914 14551 You just need to send me a message and I will respond to you immediately. Don't send it at night though. Uh, and also, if you want to see pictures of my work, you're not convinced by this video, and you want to see pictures of my work, you can go to underscore AFFYS. So that's underscore Affys on Instagram. And I will be there. You can contact me from Instagram as well. But most importantly, you can see and even see other reviews from other clients as well.
Okay, super. All right, Affy. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, all that amazing advice. I really think it's quite applicable, to be honest, in every career. I don't think specifically even restricted to the food journey. So I really do hope people watch this, and I will be rewatching it actually because I have to listen and pay attention, but I want to go back and actually write some things down because I love the clarity in which you broke things down. You did spell it out in ways that are actually very easy to understand and reusable, and that's priceless information. So thank you for joining.
Thank you too.
Um, this is why Spotlight exists. It's basically to center our stories, our journeys in Portugal, immigrants that have moved here, trying to create a space, build something, learn something new. That is what we'll be discussing here. I hope you found it interesting. Please don't forget to scan the barcode if you want to support. I'll hugely appreciate it. There are plans to release episodes every 2 weeks. I do have like a long list of people that I would love to talk to. But of course, if you're also interested and you want to be featured, feel free to send me an email. The email is just right there down below. I'll be happy to consider it. But like, there's so many people doing so many amazing things. I literally have like a list of 30 people that I want to talk to. Yeah. I'll be doing this well into next year. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Please help. And this is just the first episode. Like I said, there'll be many more to come. And until then, just keep building, keep showing up, and most importantly, let us keep supporting each other. We're here on our own. You know, some people are here with family, but most people are here on their own. So we really just do have each other. So let's maintain that community and support each other. You know, we're all in this together. So again, thank you, and hope to
Thank
see you next
you.
time. Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.